So hi everybody, it's Amanda from Roseborough Travel. I know all of you who are on right now, and I know that we have several more who are going to be watching on the replay. They've already told me. I'm Amanda from Roseborough Travel. I'm one of the co-owners, but I also am the main group host through our agency. We have Alyssa and Marissa in the office who also host trips. I do most of the AmaWaterways ones, so excited that you are joining us today because we have Deborah Robinson from AmaWaterways doing a beautiful presentation for us about going on the Douro River. I will be hosting a group in April of next year, April 2024, once the bun in the oven is out and I can go. So I would love for you to join us on this trip. It's going to be fantastic. We have been having people wanting to go on the Douro for so long, and it is such a difficult thing to get into because they're very limited. So don't wait, don't delay. If you are interested in going, make sure to sign up as soon as possible. I will be the one that you sign up through, even though everybody in my office is more than happy to help. I just tend to be the one to roll with all the groups that I'm in charge of. So without further ado, I'm going to hand the screen over to Deborah Robinson from AmaWaterways, one of my very favorite river cruise companies. I've been on Ama, I can't count how many times, at least 5 or 6.
Awesome.
We love you. So, and I know
Awesome.
several of the people who are on right now have been on several times as well.
That's fantastic.
So I'm going to ask everybody to mute themselves. I think everybody's muted. And I will take myself off of the screen and let Deborah take it away.
All right. Thank you, Amanda. So I'm fairly new to Zoom, so bear with me as I share my screen. All right. Can you see my screen, Amanda?
Yes, I can see your screen. Okay. I think if you put it into your PowerPoint, yeah. Let's see.
There we go.
Very good. We got it.
It's different on every application.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, thank you for having me again. So my name is Deborah Robinson. I am the Business Development Manager for North Florida. So I thank you for your interest in AmaWaterways. I used to be a travel agent before I became a BDM. So travel agents rock. I understand where all of you come from and I understand what you go through. So I'm happy to present to you today from kind of a travel agent angle. I gear all my presentations to what I think customers are going to want to see and hear about. So Amanda and Rosenberg Travel have put together this wonderful trip on the Douro, but I wanted to tell you a little bit about AmaWaterways first. So I like to say that oceans take you to the countries, but rivers take you through them. This picture is just a perfect example of what you can expect when you are river cruising. This is actually the Rhine. You can see that it's dotted with a castle up on the hill. I think there's over 40 castles along this journey. So just a wonderful way to experience the beauty. And our company of AmaWaterways was founded by Christine and Rudy in 2002. And I love this picture of them. I could present a much more formal, company picture, but I love this picture because it shows just how down to earth and joyous and beautiful both of them are. Rudy is known as the godfather of river cruising, and he likes to say he builds them and she fills them. So they're a great team. And the gentleman on the right is Gary Murphy. And together, I think they are the trifecta, a dream team of river cruising. They are really great management and they do a great job as co-owners of our company. So Rudy, back in 1975, built his very first river cruise ship. I love this photo. It's kind of a grainy photo, but it shows you from a very early age at 18, he was sent to the Amazon on a journalism assignment. And this is where he built his very first river ship. Not too bad for an 18-year-old group of guys, you know? So I love to show this photo, and that was in 1975. But in 1992, when the Rhine and the Danube Canal was complete, and Rudy was quick to envision river cruising as we know it today. So a little bit of history there. So this is our world. We're on the Danube, the Rhine, the Rhone, the Seine. We're in, obviously, Portugal on the Douro. We're in Asia on the Mekong, Africa on the Chobe, and Egypt on the Nile. And soon to be March of 2024, we will be in Colombia on the Magdalena. So you say, why AmaWaterways? Well, one of the biggest reasons is the Ama Magna. She is twice the width of any river cruise ship of any company out there. So a lot of times people say, oh, well, it just means more people, but that's not the case. Even our long ships have approximately around 160 people on board, but our competitors' same size ship have around 194. So our claim to fame is bigger rooms, smaller number of people, and that applies on the Ama Magna even more so. So even though she's twice the width, she has the capacity to hold 196. So the rooms are larger, the spaces are more opulent, and more to do on board. So that's really her claim to fame. One of the more amazing features is that she has 4 specialty restaurants, and these are all included in your cruise fare, so there's no upcharge for these as well. And as of April, we now have a pickleball court. If you're from Florida, then you know pickleball is huge. So we've already got pickleball groups interested in going on the Ama Magna for that reason. So it's been really popular so far. And on all of our cruises, not just the Ama Magna, the food is amazing. I like to say I'm a bit of a foodie. I'd be skinny otherwise. And I'm also an artist. So this food is award-winning, chef-prepared, artfully plated. It truly is culinary delights. And all of the breads are baked fresh daily on board. I can't say enough about the food and the wine. So a lot of people think, oh, well, if I want good wines, I have to do a wine cruise. And I always like to let people know that the wines that we have on board are local to the areas that you're sailing. So every day, even if it's not a wine cruise, you have a choice of a red or a white that's local to that area that you're sailing through. So the wines are spectacular as well. So another feature that's exclusive to AmaWaterways is our cruise managers. A lot of times people don't put a value on the cruise manager per se, but ours are special in the sense that they stay with you the entire length of the journey. So if you incorporate a pre or post in your sailing, then that cruise manager is on the entire trip with you. So they're at the hotel. So if you have any issues or you need some help along the way, they're going to be with you the entire time. And for a lot of people who go to another country and they don't speak the language and they have some issues, maybe checking in, or maybe something's happened along the way and they need help, the cruise manager is right there to help you. They also organize a meet and greet the very first night, so you get to meet everyone else that's there for the pre as well. And it's just a really great experience. So another feature that Ama offers is I always get asked, what's your drink package? And there is no drink package. Drinks are included. The sip and sail hour, there is a sip and sail hour for cocktails. It's 1 hour before dinner where we have a menu, and of course there's beer and wine, but there's also a menu of cocktails. So you can have your lemon drops and your martinis as well. One of the biggest differences, I think, between us and some of our competitors is our shore excursions. They are also included. Some of our competitors offer you one shore excursion, and then you have an upcharge for anything else that you do. And I know for a fact that sometimes the culinary excursions on other cruise lines can be $2.99 a person. So if you multiply that times per day, you've spent a lot of extra money. But with AMA, all of our excursions are included. There may be on select itineraries. I think the Nile is one where there is an excursion there's an upcharge. And then Vienna for the concert, there is one. But that there are multiple others. There's at least 6 other tours that are included. So you don't have to do something that's an upcharge to be able to do an excursion that day. So if you want to do one in the morning and one in the afternoon, you can absolutely do that, or you can do an all-day excursion. It's truly up to you, and they're all included. So not only are they included, they are different levels. So there's light walking, there's hiking, there's biking. There's also immersion tours where you go and cook in people's homes and experience cheese making and all sorts of things that are an actual immersive tour. There's wine tasting tours and cooking as well. So all different types to choose from, and they're all included. So I had to include a picture of myself on an excursion. This is Salzburg, and I grew up watching The Sound of Music, so I had to do the all-day Salzburg excursion. But I put this in because I wanted you to see that I did everything Salzburg had to offer. But on the right, you can see paintings. I'm also a painter, so I took my painting gear with me and I set up and painted. This is me in front of the lake at Salzburg. It was just one of the most magical days ever. So you truly can make your excursions what you want them to be. If you want to go off on your own and do your own thing, you can absolutely do that. Another feature that AMA takes a lot of pride in is our wellness programs on board our ships. We have certified wellness hosts that run all type of classes, from yoga to core strengthening, dance classes, you name it. They just have all sorts of exercise on board. So our itineraries in Europe are our largest. We have over 20 unique European itineraries to choose from. So many points of destination, but we also have exotics. A lot of people don't realize that we have river cruising in Africa. And I always like to say, who river cruises in Africa? AmaWaterways. We're one of the only companies that do. So our ship that you see here in the bottom corner is the Zambezi Queen, and she is quite special. I love this ship. It is entirely suites. There's only 14 suites on board, so a maximum of 28 people. It's quite intimate, and this also often gets chartered because it's such a small capacity of people, but it's quite an exclusive experience. So if you have people that are interested in Africa, they can do the on-land experience, the traditional African tour on land, but they can also have a river cruising experience as well. We're also in the Nile. We also have in March a second ship coming online. That's been a really popular itinerary this year. So if you have interest in Egypt, just let Amanda know. Cambodia and Vietnam is another exotic itinerary. And one of the more popular excursions there is the blessing ceremony at the Buddhist monks. With the Buddhist monks, I've heard that's quite special. So that's an interesting itinerary also. And then March of 2024, we start our Wonders of Colombia down the Magdalena River. So that's going to be an exceptional experience as well. And I normally only show this slide to travel agents, but I've started showing it to consumers because we all have our knitting clubs and our painting clubs, or just family that we like to travel with. So it's important to let you know that when you do partake in a group, it is special pricing. There's different perks that you get when you have a group, and you only need 5 cabins to make a group. But Amanda's done all that work for you. She's put together a group that is going to the Douro River in Portugal. I love this photo. I mean, this is quintessential Europe for sure. It makes anyone want to go there. All of the history and beauty that's in that photo. So the Enticing Douro It is a 7-night cruise that's round trip from Porto, and her dates are April the 6th through the 13th of 2024. And there is also an optional pre-cruise of a 3-night stay in Lisbon, if you're interested, and that would be starting on the 3rd of April. And her price point for the cruise is starting at $35.49 per person. So look at the itinerary. You can see it starts in Porto. Again, this is the 7-night round trip Porto portion. You can see it starting in Porto and then on to Regua and Pinau, Vega de Turon and Barca de Alva, and then back to Pinau, Regua, and then Porto. And then the 3-night pre, if you choose to do the pre, I believe it was a cost of $900. I can't say enough about the pre and the post that we offer. They're really exceptional values. And if you do the pre, your transfers to and from the hotel to the ship are also included. If you do your air with us as well, then your round trip from the airport to the hotel or the ship is also included. So that's a good feature to point out. But as far as the pre or the post, you are guaranteed a 4 to 5-star hotel. You are given breakfast at that hotel every morning. You also get a city tour that is included for your pre or post, and that's every single day that you're on it. So it's an exceptional value. I just got back in April from the Gems of Southeast Europe on the Magna, and my favorite thing I did the entire time was a tour that was on the pre to a palace. It was snowing. It was magical. It was in Transylvania. So I highly recommend you take a look at the pre and the post, especially the pre, because that gives you a little cushion when you fly in. So if something does bobble with your air, you have a little more time before the cruise starts to get acclimated. So on this particular pre, one of the places that you will go to is Sintra, Portugal, and see the Pena Palace. And I just think that this palace is probably one of the most beautiful. I love all of the colors in Portugal. Everything is brightly colored, and the history is just renowningly beautiful. So to take a look at the itinerary, and I just included some of the more favorite excursions to just give you an idea of what are some of the things you'll be doing if you do the pre and the post. You can see day 1, there's a City of Seven Hills tour, and then the Sintra Pena Palace that we just saw the photo of. And then on day 3, the motor coach takes you to Porto, where you also do or go to the Tomar Castle. And then day 5 is when you actually embark on the ship. So you leave on the ship, and then your first excursion, you're going to have lunch at a local quinta, which is like a local bar restaurant that we would have here. But it will be local cuisine, and you'll be experiencing the culture at its finest. And then on day 6, you'll see the Mateus Palace and a garden visit, along with wine tasting. And then day 7, there's a Salamanca excursion where they have the flamenco. We call it flamingo, but they call it flamenco dancing, and with the ladies with the skirts, and it's quite special. It's quite beautiful. And then day 8, there's the Castelo Rodrigo tour, where you do more tastings, or there is a hike that you can partake in, and then a dinner at the end of that. And then in Lumbago, there is bolus tasting, which I have not had, but I've heard it's quite delicious. It's been described to me as kind of like a donut that's been cut in half, and it's kind of has a custard type ingredient. It's supposed to be really, really delicious. And then on day 10, there is the City of the Bridges tour with port wine tasting. Of course, Portugal is known for its port wine. It's one of the more famous exports that they have from Portugal. And then, of course, the last thing is a free afternoon before you disembark from Porto. And the ship that you're on is the AmaDouro. And she, just to go over some of the statistics about her, she has 51 staterooms. So that's a total of 102 passengers. So she's a smaller ship, which is quite nice. I enjoy the smaller ships myself. You can see the different decks. There's the Sun deck, the Porto deck, the Lisbon deck, and the Douro deck. So the rooms on the Douro deck are the yellow and orange. Those are going to be the rooms. If you look above, you'll see little windows down by the water edge. Those are the rooms at that level. And then the next level is the Lisbon deck. That is going to be balcony rooms and some suites, the B category, all in green. And then the Porto deck has your larger suites, your A-level suites, and then the C level as well. And there she is on the Douro. You can see she navigates quite well throughout the history and the cities. She had to be smaller to go into some of the areas you go to in Portugal. So aboard the ship, you really have space to relax. Most of the rooms have balconies, so you can enjoy that beautiful scenery if you are in the room from your balcony. In the evenings, we have entertainment that comes on board. So if we're parked, they come or docked, they come aboard and perform for you in the local garb, and you get to experience the culture of the music where you're located. So that's quite special. We've gone over some of the food. Oh my goodness, I truly can't say enough about the food. It's quite spectacular. And one of the things I'm not sure that I mentioned was if you have fish or say you have steak that evening or that dinner, that's been brought aboard that day. We don't freeze any of our ingredients, so everything is fresh, including the breads baked on board every day. So that's quite different. You order from a menu. You have choices. It's not like a buffet style. So it's very much an upscale food experience. And then our community spaces, the public spaces where you have your sip and sell hour or any of the performances. Since it is a smaller ship, there's fewer people on board. There's plenty of space in the lounge to accommodate everyone. Up on deck, there's a pool. So on the sun deck, if you want to one day take a break from excursions and enjoy the pool, you can still watch the history in the cities, the cobblestone streets and the villages go by as you enjoy the pool. Or if you've done an excursion and now you're exhausted, you can have a spa treatment or massage to kind of pamper yourself once you're back. I included a couple of pictures of staterooms so you could get an idea of what it's like on board the ship. This is one of our nicest suites that's on board. This is the Porto deck, which is the top deck. And this has an outside balcony, and this total room is 323 square feet. So it's quite a nice size. And then the B category is on the Lisbon deck, so that would be the middle deck. It also has a balcony, a little bit smaller than on the suite we just looked at, but quite adequate. It has 2 chairs, a little table, so you can sit out there and have your wine, enjoy every bit of scenery that's going by. This is a nice size room as well. So Porto, Portugal, obviously it's known for its beautiful architecture, colorful city, and history. It's truly like stepping back in time with all the history there is to offer. So here's a bit of a trivia question. What do you call, and Amanda, you're going to have to answer. What do you call the blue and white Portuguese tiles? Anybody know? It is, drum roll please, azules tile. So it's very similar to in Holland and Amsterdam where you see the Delft tiles. This is the blue and white as well. Quite beautiful. And then in Pinhao, Portugal, you step away from some of the city and more of the rural landscape. It's still very, very beautiful, but there's also castles and palaces to see. One of them is the Mateus Palace with its gardens. As you can see there in the photo, it's quite special, quite beautiful. Always been a favorite from everyone I've heard that's experienced it. And you also do local tasting in Castelo Rodrigo, Portugal is one. You'll experience all that the locals make and have to offer with a one-on-one type excursion with them in their homes. So it's quite a one-on-one experience. Also in Castelo Rodrigo, Portugal, there's one of the oldest churches. It's called the Rocamadour Church. You'll be experiencing that as well. And then in Regua, Portugal, there is more castles and more of the beautiful, beautiful scenery as well. One of the favorites is also has that blue and white tile is in Lamego is the Holy Staircase. I think just looking at the photo, you can see why they named it the Holy Staircase. It's almost as beautiful as the building itself. And then in Salamanca, Spain, you'll experience more of the culture there is to offer there, as well as a dinner where you'll have the flamenco performance and dancing with the beautiful ladies in the dresses with lots and lots of ruffles. It's quite a unique style of dance. So if you haven't seen it before, I highly recommend it. You'll definitely enjoy it. But all along the way, you're going to be experiencing culinary, authentic culinary experiences, whether you're on excursions or on the ship as well. They will have local cuisines for you to taste all along the way. And the bolas, this is a photo of them actually. It doesn't quite look like a donut to me, but that's how it was described to me, and that it has that custard layer. I've heard it's quite a delicious pastry. And then, of course, there is the port wine, which definitely this region is known for. If you like a sweet dessert wine, Porto is for you. I dabble in wine. I make a Pinot Noir from home. I have the grapes shipped over from Italy, so I'm a bit of a wine snob. I like my wine dry, but for those of you that do like a sweet dessert wine, you'll enjoy the port for sure. So some of the promotions that we have going on right now, whether you do Amanda's cruise, group cruise, or if there's something else you have in mind that you want to talk to Amanda about, keep in mind that there are promotions out there. We have a complimentary land package that's going on through June the 30th for select itineraries for Europe, the Mekong, as well as Egypt. So make sure you ask about those if you have something else that you would like to approach Amanda about. We also have a fixed air promotion. So for air that's out 300 days, a lot of times people, especially right now, because air has been really, really volatile. It's all over the place. And I used to be a travel agent, so I understand when you have your clients, there's like, well, I don't know if I'm ready to book because I don't know where I stand on the air. This is a great way to get them to go ahead and book the air because they can deposit on the cruise and deposit on the air and they're done. They don't have to worry about it. They have it already arranged. So we have economy air fixed rate at $8.99 per person, premium economy air at $22.99 per person, and business class air for $42.99 per person. And that's through June 30th as well. So make sure you ask about that and see if it applies to the cruise sailing that you're interested in. So this is just a silly photo I love to include. This is of Diane Horan. Some of you may know her, and this is her husband. They were in Egypt. And it truly is one of the things I've learned is don't wait to travel. We're not guaranteed tomorrow. So if you have an itinerary or destination, or if Portugal has been your dream, Definitely don't wait. Make that happen. And I don't know what they did to that camel on the right, but he does not look happy. But I love this photo. I think it's a great photo of Egypt and the pyramids. So because you have joined us today, I wanted to do a little something special. So if you book into Amanda's group within 2 weeks of today's date, you will not only receive all the specials that she's put together in pricing, you will also get $100 off per person on top of what she's offering. So just a little incentive to go ahead and get your deposit down on the trip and go ahead and get that started. So I thank you for joining me today. I hope I've shown you a bit of what it would be like to experience Portugal, and I'd like to open it up if anybody has any questions at this point.
Beautiful. Thank you very much for the presentation and telling us a little bit more about the destination.
You're welcome.
Actually, I'm looking at the list of names of people on here. More than half of the people went to Egypt with me last year
Oh,
on
wonderful.
So I
So they
saw,
have lots of pyramid pictures.
yes, I love I messaged Valerie. I was like, I like your backdrop because she's got the pyramids in the background there.
Yes, she does. Wonderful.
Yeah, so it's going to be a phenomenal trip. I appreciate you sharing a little bit more about AmaWaterways in general as well. Um, One of the things that I was super excited about when we chose this trip, we didn't choose the trip that goes into Spain for pre or post nights. We're doing primarily Portugal, but you do get to hit Spain while you're here by going
Yes,
into Salamanca. So that's
right.
really neat. Um, and I love how like the flamenco dancers, I love Spain. I would go back to Spain again and again and again.
I love Spain too.
So every time I talk about Spain, most of the time it goes hand in hand with Portugal, right? So I love that Portugal brings in so much of the Spanish influence. They're so, bordering that it's easy to kind of blend, but with the flamenco dancers and everything, because it truly is, like you said, very passionate. They dance
It
in a
is very
different way, and
passionate.
you feel it in your soul. So,
Yes.
I'm really excited.
It's one of those nights where you have a cultural experience. You have a dinner and they sing and perform the different dances, and it's quite exceptional. So it's definitely one that you want to see for sure. But the architecture and the colors that's in Portugal, and the food, you can't say enough about the food.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm a bit of a foodie, otherwise I'd be skinny. And AmaWaterways, I know I worked for the company, but I loved Ama long before I ever became an employee. And I became an employee because I love Ama so much.
Right.
And the food is one of the best parts of the cruise. And the destination, in my opinion, is the second. Wine is the third, in that order. But the rooms are beautiful as well. The ship is beautiful. The itinerary is a really great one. You chose a good one. So I think your guests will experience all that Portugal and a little bit of Spain has to offer, for
Right. Yeah,
sure.
we're super excited about it. And we know, I wanted to mention, because I'm the same as you. I don't like sweet wine. Sweet wine is not my thing. I
There
prefer
are
the
other
more dry.
choices.
I know
Yes.
they have a Vino Verde there, and
Yes.
it doesn't mean that it's green, like from green grapes or anything, though often it is.
Right.
It's a young wine, so it's
Right.
less sweet. It hasn't made that dessert wine taste yet.
Right.
So
And
that's something that is
yeah, and
really
I
good.
think we were talking about this prior. I can't remember who I was talking about this with, but some people think if you're not on a wine cruise that, you don't have choices in wine, but that's
Right.
definitely not true. Every day you're going to have a choice of a red or a white that's local to the region
Local.
that you're sailing.
Yeah.
And so you can choose something that's less sweet or more sweet, depending on what your tastes are. So you do have those beautiful wines that are all throughout the entire journey. It's not just one wine throughout the trip. It's
Yeah.
all the different choices for the local regions. The wine tastings for the port that you do on shore is where you can really experience all the different types of port and all the different wines in that
Yeah.
region. So
Definitely. And of course, because I'm like food and wine too, right? The bulos that you were showing us,
Mhm,
if
mhm.
you had been to Hawaii and had the malasadas, they're Portuguese donuts too, like very similar, custard inside. And I agree with you, that didn't look like a
It
picture,
didn't look like it.
but we've had them before and they are like donuts with the custard
Yeah.
inside, like
Well,
really delicious.
that's funny. I didn't even think of that. I used to live in Hawaii. So yeah, they looked more like donuts there. They didn't
Yeah,
look like that photo at all. So
right.
you'll just have to go and taste them and let me know what you think.
It'll be great. We all get to go and, vacation calories don't count. You never gain
No,
weight from the vacation. So we
no,
can go and drink and enjoy and taste and eat our way through Portugal together. Um,
absolutely.
so Deborah, thank you so much for doing this
Oh,
presentation
you're very welcome. And if
today.
there are any questions that arise from this, if you don't know the answers, feel free to reach out to me. I'm always, free to, if I don't know, find out the answers for you or your guests. And I hope you have lots of people join you. And I think this is a great itinerary. So enjoy.
I can tell you the very first question is going to be, was the air promo and the land promo in relationship to our group or just in general? I don't think it's
They're on
applicable.
select sailings.
Yeah, I
So
don't think
it
it's
mostly
applicable to our group,
applies
but I'll find out.
Portugal. There may be some sailings. I'm not sure if this one is one, but
Okay.
I always try to include what promotions we have going at the time, because
Yeah,
if somebody sees the presentation, but maybe they can't do your group, they might want to do the the Danube or Africa,
right.
and it might apply on that. So I just wanted to highlight what promotions are out there, and that way they could ask, if need be.
Absolutely.
Now, even if the air promotion doesn't apply, we can absolutely do the guests air, for them. And usually the prices are really, really good. Usually they're lower than what you can get through Delta's website or, some other airline's website, because it is contracted air. And we try to keep the costs low, because it's to our advantage as well as the guest advantage to book through us. Then it's a seamless journey. All of your transfers are included, all the portage is included. So it just basically, you show up, your bags are whisked away, everything is done for you, and you don't have to worry about whether you have that transfer, whether you have, a way to the hotel or back to the ship. It's all done for you. So have your guest price our air if they don't have air already or don't want to handle it themselves. I think they'll find the prices quite good.
We do that quite often. I wish that you guys would get a few more contracts with Delta, though. You do a lot of Lufthansa. So, all right. Thank you very much. We
You're
greatly
welcome.
appreciate your presentation. And if anybody wants to watch it on the replay, it will be up and it will be emailed out probably tomorrow or by Friday. Again, thank you all so much for joining us. Deborah, thank you for the presentation. It was spectacular. And we look forward to traveling with you throughout Portugal. So give me a call. Office lines are off right now. We do have another event coming up in the office, which is why I'm doing this from home right now. But I'll be in tomorrow. So give me a call if you're interested in any of these. Thanks so much, everyone. Have a great
Bye. Thank
day.
you.